Thank you. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the order, please.
So sorry. No. Mr. Benton.
Here.
Mrs. Thomas. Here. Mr. Swager.
Here.
Mrs. Boer. Here. Mrs. Davis.
Here.
And I know, Mike, you said you wanted to speak. We'll just go through that. We'll have you sign the sheet afterward, but go ahead.
Would you mind?
Green button.
It's a duo. All right, it's on already.
No need to press.
Good evening, board. Mr. Dixon, Ms. Pulley, Jeff Bauer, and I are here representing the Johnstown-Monroe Athletic Association. Probably with a long overdue thank you to all of you for the many uses of the facilities here with the school. I know we kind of help you out a little bit too, but not nearly as much as you help us. It continues to help our programs grow, give our kids a place to practice, give our kids a place to play. So again, long overdue thank you to all of you. I thank Robbie individually and Ann or Alan when I see you, but it's nice to finally thank all of you all at once. With that being said, we are here tonight to donate a check for $2,000 to go towards the refurnishing of the elementary school gym. We are in that gym 7 days a week, 8 or 9 months out of the year, and feel that it was a decision that we made to help out with that expense, since we are probably more using that gym than the actual students. So I want to present that to you guys tonight, and we just look forward to continued relationship.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Money goes to Ms. Pulley. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And yeah, we do enjoy that the school and JYA have had a very good relationship as of the last few years, especially. And I think you attending our meetings and being more involved certainly helps everyone. So I appreciate that, Mike. You too, Jeff.
Thank you.
Did we have any other, anyone else that wanted to,
Any other checks?
any other checks? No. All right. Yeah, right. All right. With that, we'll move on to the treasurer's report.
Okay, you have several minutes to approve. March 14th regular session, and then the March 15th, March 16th, March 21st, March 28th, and April 5th special sessions have all been prepared for you. The February 2022 treasurer's report, updated estimated resources and appropriations. We have one donation for the elementary school library by Ms. Patricia Culp. And that is all I have for you this evening.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion. Obviously, thank you to Mrs. Culp for the donation to the library. And everything else. Any questions on the agenda, the meeting minutes or anything? Call the roll.
Mr. Benton.
Yes.
Mrs. Boer.
Yes.
Mrs. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Thomas. Yes. Mr. Swager.
Yes. Motion carries. Mr. Dixon.
Yes, good evening.
Got it.
A few items for you this evening. In addition to the agenda, I want to share with you, you're receiving right now. I just want to update the board on our progress toward setting up for our intermediate school opening in the fall. One thing that drives a lot of what we do is the bell schedule. So this is the bell schedule that we've worked out thus far, which is working at this point with our bus drivers, trying to coordinate proper pickup times, drop-off times, and when doors will be open. This is the level of detail we need to establish first, so we can make sure we have enough time for our routes in between the different drop-offs of secondary and elementary. Furthermore, this is needed to help us begin to work on master schedule during the day. So once we've come to agreement, and we did at the last administrative team meeting, we've had 2 meetings now the past couple months with CBS and our administrative team to work out what's before you here. We think this is going to work well. Any adjustments that may be needed would be caused by additional move-ins earlier than we expect, which could impact number of riders, number of routes, etc. But this is the best we can do with the data that we have now. I just wanted the board to have a copy of it so you have a sense of progress. Now the principals will use this to begin to hone their master schedule, day schedule, class schedules, if you will, at all levels. And I want to thank the team who's worked meticulously on this to bring it to this point, as well as CBS, who've been very courteous and very informative through the process. So any questions with what you see? Just
No,
thought
I
that
appreciate
you'd have a
that. It looks-
copy to take.
Yeah, it's similar, very similar to what you guys discussed being probable earlier. So falls in line with I guess, what I expected it to be.
Sure.
So appreciate that. Thank you.
And the one major thing we're trying to accommodate, as you know, Tim, is with the opening of the JIS, we'll have 2 different drop-offs and 2
Yeah.
different pickups for elementary now. So this accommodates enough time to get across town with the knowledge that we have now. Okay. Secondly, just a quick report. We continue to work through many review of resumes, interviews with the additional positions that we're trying to fill, as well as those who are leaving their positions and we need to fill. Currently, as of today, we have open and are working on 4 administrative positions, 6 certified positions, and 5 classified positions. And that's changing by the day. As you can see, we're adding such changes as we can to the agenda. You'll see one highlighted a little later that just came in, and we wanted to get it on for tonight so we can get it posted for a parapro resignation. In addition to this effort, I want the board to realize that we're also analyzing incoming students who will have additional needs, special needs. And thus far, we have on our radar the potential for 2 additional student attendants at this point. We're still ascertaining more information on each of those cases. And we're also involved this year with trying to find nursing coverage for our 5th grade trips. And Mrs. Smith is working along with Mrs. Perderi and the staff. And thank you, Janet, for helping with that endeavor. We need to find somebody to cover. The campground used to provide a nurse, and they don't anymore. So now we're having to provide that. So we're trying to find that, as well as we're going to have to be coming up with a nurse to cover our DC trip this year, given the specific needs within that student body. So we're trying to find volunteers, obviously, who are able to go. But short of that, as we've done in the past, we'll secure necessary services from either a company or a certified nurse, which I'll come back to you for rates if that becomes necessary.
So the 5th grade camp, you're saying they used to have a nurse at the camp, they no longer do.
That is correct.
Did they have a full-time nurse, or did they have someone that they, I guess, are we trying to figure out if there's someone we can just hire from the camp location? Who did they have?
No, they do not supply a nurse anymore.
I know, but how did the old camp
that role.
used to fill that role, I guess, would be my. Oh, okay. It was part of their full-time staff.
I'm sorry.
All right. That's what I was wondering. I didn't know if they were hiring someone just for each camp individually. So they just had a full-time member. Okay.
Now they dropped that service altogether.
Okay.
So just wanted to be aware of our efforts. We're trying to fill those needs. And nursing staff's been very helpful in trying to search for potential volunteers, parent volunteers who might have the time to do this. But short of that, I may be coming back to you with a need there. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Any questions you have on personnel or efforts? Okay. I'm very pleased this evening to announce to the board that we have received a third Facebook grant in the amount of $63,000, $182.49. So $63,182.49 as we requested. That's a full award this year. So this will kind of complete our, what I'll refer to as a building of a foundation of innovative studies, K through 12 within our district. This will provide much needed equipment, computers, some mostly at the high school level with this particular grant, adding more in the way of biomedical sciences supplies, human body systems. One nice machine that will be now part of our engineering program at the high school. As students move up, they will have the pleasure of working with a shop bot, a very nice shop bot, and all the equipment that goes around that. So they'll be able to design and now actually manufacture items right there in our innovation center. So it's exciting. It really is exciting. I'm pleased to announce this, and I do think we have a foundation on which this district can build going forward now and get into some other areas. Probably something to do with chips eventually. Might be on the horizon, and possibly some AI studies, which are certainly finding their way into school curriculums now. So certainly wish the district well going forward in those endeavors as we seek to provide students with relative skills that they can leave from high school. Yeah, it's kind of a beautiful thing right now, isn't it? That we now have the opportunity for students to graduate from high school and possibly have careers right in the backyard and stay near family and friends for a very long time, whether that be construction or technical skills. And just excited about it. So we have our grant, and we'll be working to get all those items on order, as well as establish a more friendly innovation center. It'll actually look like an innovation center when we're done with this. Mr. Busenberg, Mr. Bumbaugh have been working hard on that planning. So we're excited about it. So I'm pleased to share that this evening. To date, we have 3 topics that we're preparing for the work session. First and foremost, we have final details developing on our literacy plan, which you heard Marcy Wilson so eloquently present at our last meeting. She did a wonderful job with that. Things are falling into place. Proper programs are being selected, and we will have that ready for discussion and possible action by the board at the work session. I'll get that information out to you well in advance of that meeting so that you can have a good idea of what's being proposed prior to. Secondly, on that agenda, as the board's requested, we're bringing forth the 3 policies that need further discussion, and that'd be policies 5610, 5610-03, and 2240. So please let me know if you need any further information relative to those 3 as you've been studying those, and we look forward to any conversations relative to that. And finally, I've asked Robbie Brickner, our athletic director, to be prepared at that work session to give an updated presentation relative to data of our athletic department, planning efforts, which to identify questions that the board may want to be involved with, developing a plan going forward. This could be with what sports are we having, not having, what coaches are needed, what programs are growing, looking at both the financial, the number side, and getting into all those issues. So that's the 3rd topic that I have. And if there are other topics the board wishes to add to that work session, just let me know and I'll get them on there. With that, I'm ready to move on to the agenda items, if you would.
Sounds good. Any questions for Dale?
Any questions on any of that?
We'll move on. Thank you.
All right. I have 3 general recommendations for you this evening. All of you should have received about a week ago a copy of the Fuel Ed contract renewal. I'm asking you to approve a 4-year contract. We're coming off a 4-year agreement with Fuel Ed, and very pleased that the cost for this program has come down substantially. It still is the premier curriculum that is available. We've all enjoyed the curriculum. We've had MJ look into others that are available None of them rise to the level of effectiveness of K-12. And we have this contract in the amount total for all 4 years of $123,200. This is roughly half of what we used to pay on the last 4-year contract. So very pleased with that we can continue that curriculum for those who are using it for remediation, those who are using it for taking electives that otherwise wouldn't be offered by the school district, and those making up credits as needed. Under item B, asking the board to approve the handbooks as listed for the 22-23 school year. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. The principals are standing by ready to answer anything that you might have. I think you found change sheets with those that had significant changes, but certainly we're willing to answer any questions relative to those tonight. Under item C, asking the board to approve a change in the 21-22 school calendar. That's this year's school calendar, making the last day of classes for our elementary May 25th as opposed to the 26th. We'd like to provide our elementary teachers with one day which they can concentrate on readying for the move. We have a lot of moving going on, some 40 classrooms when you take into account what needs to be prepared for the move to the new intermediate school, as well as all the internal moves, as I shared with you in my briefs last week. So we're asking you to approve this change in the course calendar. At that time, we will put it out to parents and let them know that for elementary only, school will end a day early so that we might give these teachers time to prepare, as we have in other buildings with the moves to our new facilities. Those are my general recommendations this evening.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll make it a second. Discussion.
I'd like to have a discussion on the elementary school handbook. Could you tell me what changes? My computer did not function on your changes, just the major changes on that?
It was, I was going to say,
Mine didn't function for some reason. I don't know what they were doing down the street from us, but I wasn't able to see those. Is there anything major other than what you've had in years past?
I went through it pretty, a lot of it was just like redundancy taken out.
Editing the 4 or 5
Yeah,
on the elementary and putting it onto the JIS.
some pronoun stuff. Your ES or IS, sorry. Because
I'm just looking for major
Correct.
things. Is there
We're talking
anything
about the
that
elementary.
we're changing that's measured?
no.
Okay. Grandparents' Day, we're still having that. We got to go with the major items. We're still having
That's not in the handbook.
I didn't know where it was announced or whatever. I just was curious if that was still. Okay, good. I think it designated number of parties or something that we have during the year. Was that in there?
It just changed to snack will be provided versus brought in, or was that just intermediate? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's JD on the comments? All the comments say were made by JD. I was just curious who that was, the initials. I couldn't figure out who made all the comments.
It's a JD.
That they all were JD 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't know what J. Normally you have the. Okay. I was just curious. I couldn't figure out who made the comments on my copy. Gotcha. I was just curious. I couldn't put it together. I was like, who is JD down there making these? Yes. Yeah. I just didn't know why in the elementary. Okay. Copied it out. Okay. Yep. I was just curious. I minded the comments when I pulled them up. They're there, and I just couldn't place who that was.
Thanks. I appreciate your patience. I just
Yep.
wanted to know if there's any major that we're going to
No.
get questions about. So
At the high school. Elementary.
I was just curious, I saw no decorations of the locker. Is that on the outside or inside or both?
Teachers put the names on the lockers, and we don't allow them to decorate it because it takes the paint finish off. So if they stick stickers and things like that on it, it damages the lockers. So we've always kind of had it as a rule since we moved in there, but we've never had it in writing.
so that's inside, and I understand the outside for sure, but it's inside as well. So
Correct.
no more family photos or
They have the shelves
what
in the
else?
locker.
Yeah, they have a shelf.
They have the shelves already
Have a
built
shelf.
in.
Shelf
Is that
and
the
2
same
rows.
at all 4 handbooks? I guess I didn't.
Yeah, is that consistent with all 4?
Can they
Probably not.
decorate their locker at the middle school?
Wait a minute, we can't hear you, Chris.
The reason I ask is I know I see like Spirit Day, they hang stuff. So I was just
Yeah.
curious if that.
At the middle school,
violates
we've had
or-
coaches reach out to us if they want to do something special with athletics. We just ask them to use painter's tape, and then they're not left up very long. So the custodians check with us, and they might be up, for example, track last week. The new track coaches reached out to us. So after a few days, then they're taken down.
I want to make sure we're not discouraging that. I like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to have a.
Right. And we had the conversation
Policy.
with the track coaches last week through email. I was talking to Coach Benito, and I said, we'll leave them up a couple days, and then we're going to encourage the athletes to move them to the inside of the locker where they can enjoy them. And then other kids won't mess with them either. So they had a lot of time in making what they put on the front of the locker. So then they were to move it to the inside of the locker where they could enjoy it and other students wouldn't.
So I've seen some students at the elementary, and I'm not saying names because I don't know if they're allowed to do this, who have like colorful magnets and things. Is that okay? All right. I did just got it.
Okay.
Not
we don't
pers-
want. We enjoy those things, so we don't want to discourage them, and that's what we want to make sure. That's not the intent. Is to have a very sterile environment where there's no individual. Okay.
No, the one big thing of emphasis has been there for years is no tape.
Got it.
Yeah,
Makes
and
sense.
no one's
Because it builds up,
disputing that.
and you have these little pieces everywhere. So that was made clear by the board
Yeah.
years ago, and so we have enforced that pretty harshly.
Yeah. Command.
Derek just said that the magnets are great. The tape is discouraged.
We need a boom mic.
yeah. Have the boom mic going around. So okay.
Thanks
I-
for your patience.
thanks for
I
the
just needed to
clarification.
be sure there wasn't something I needed to
No.
check out there.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on any of the handbooks? I mean, there wasn't a tremendous amount of change in any
No.
of it, so I wasn't. It didn't take very long to
We got
review.
the athletic handbook, but I don't see it on here.
The athletic handbook is still being revised. Is it?
So it's on it.
It's not on here.
Not,
Oh, that was supposed to be on there.
I don't
I
see it.
apologize. It was revised and sent out to you as of Friday, the new
Yeah,
one.
I didn't see it on here. That's why I was asking.
Thank you, Tim,
I
for
read
bringing
it.
that
Do
up.
you want it on here?
Can we add that? I would add that to
Can
my
we get an amended
recommendation.
motion?
Yes,
Ms.
I'll amend the
Davis?
motion
I'll second
to
it.
Well,
include that.
Was I the one that seconded it?
yeah, Benton and Thomas. So we're going to amend the motion to include the athletic handbook. We just made some clarifications on Friday about
Yes.
penalty carryover. It used to say may, and we made it a shall condition between schools,
Thank you for bringing that up, Tim. Sorry that didn't get added.
or will. Yeah, it used to say may, and now it says will carry over. Yeah. Yep. All right. With that, any other questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Benton,
Yes.
Mrs. Boer,
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Thomas? Yes. Mr. Swager?
Yes, motion carries.
We have a number of personnel recommendations for you this evening. I will enumerate on those now. A is to accept a resignation from Sarah Coben, elementary kindergarten teacher, effective the end of the year. Under B, to accept the resignation of Guy Williams as coordinator of student services, effective at the end of the school year. C, to accept the resignation of Mr. Jeff Rings, middle school dean of students and virtual learning coordinator for the purpose of retirement, effective June 30th. The one in yellow there is an ad for today we received to accept the resignation of Tina Heil, elementary student attendant, effective the end of the year. Under item E, asking the board to approve unpaid days for Alicia Guess as listed. Under item F, to approve the following unpaid day for Mindy Welch as listed. Under G, to accept the resignation of Lori Kirkpatrick, elementary intervention specialist at the end of the school year. And under item H, to approve the following administrative positions, contract renewals as listed. And I want to just say here a great word of thanks to those who are leaving our employment at the end of the year. We obviously hate seeing people move on, but for various reasons, good reasons, they are moving on to other positions, other locations, because life happens. And so we wish them well, and until they are more appropriately recognized otherwise.
Thank you. Can I have a motion?
I make motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Yes, I would like to add to his comment, but especially to Jeff Rings, who's a long-term employee of ours. How many years, Jeff? Too many to count. 23. I want to add too, I don't see on there the credits about the musical and the wonderful events that happen in the Performing Arts Center. Hats off, my friend. Good job.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, 23 is not enough, Jeff. You know, I'm disappointed in you. Should be like turkeys, right? 30, 35, 36. Well, that's an excuse, Jeff. You know, that's an excuse. You know, I'm just saying, you know, but it'll never be the same, Jeff.
No, thank you so much.
Happy retirement.
Happy retirement.
Yes.
We wish the others well too.
And
Have
enjoy
fun
those
with the
grandkids.
grandkids.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions, comments? Call the roll.
Mr. Benton?
Yeah.
Mrs. Boer?
Yes,
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Thomas? Yes. Mr. Swager?
Yes, motion carries. Any committee reports or additional business? We're going to go to executive session if not.
I did receive additional information on the Harvard contract earlier this afternoon, so I'll be giving that information. Ruth Ann and I will be providing that information to you guys so that possibly we could put it to the workshop on 4/25. Or
We could do that.
okay, I think with the information that we received today will
Okay.
bring us to a decision.
Sounds great. Thank you.
No action expected. Or yes.
maybe.
Maybe.
Okay. I just,
All right.
maybe.
I don't think anyone has to stay here that's here. Though. We'll be going to executive, so all the other administrators are welcome to leave.
I just was like, wow, look at that time. You guys
yeah.
go enjoy your evenings.
This will be for discussion of employment and compensation. If I can get a motion to
So
executive.
moved.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Thomas, second. Executive session. What do we got? 5:35.
Yes.
All right. Call the roll.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Boer?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Swager?
Yes.
Who would you like in executive session?
I think it's just the board.
Just the board.
Just the board members.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not gonna.